What's the latest on those international monitors that have been taken hostage, if you will, or being held captive by pro-Russian demonstrators in eastern Ukraine?
That's right, Wolf. Last week in Slovyansk, the self-declared mayor took these 8 international observers who were sent out under the Vienna document, which is one of the OSCE's arms control and transparency building measures, and has been holding them along with their Ukrainian escorts in a dungeon in Slovyansk. Obviously, one was released last week on medical grounds, but we remain deeply concerned about the remaining hostages and really decry this kind of terrorist tactic.
Have they made formal demands what they want in exchange for their freedom?
My understanding is that talks are going on the ground every day, trying to figure out a way out of this. Obviously, they should be freed because they are international observers duly invited under the Vienna document, to which Russia, as well as all the other OSCE states, is a signatory. And we're very hopeful that they will be released sometime soon.
Do you blame just pro-Russian demonstrators in eastern Ukraine, Ambassador, or do you blame Russia itself?
Absolutely not. This is not something that is spontaneous or random. We've been very clear that there is strong evidence that this is a coordinated, Kremlin-coordinated series of events. The takeover of the building in Luhansk that we heard about just a moment ago today, I heard a journalist describe it as taking place with military efficiency. That's not an accident. The Kremlin is coordinating this. This would not be happening without the Kremlin's involvement.
Julia, what's your analysis?
I think he's absolutely right. And especially if you contrast this with what happened on the Maidan in Kiev, which the Russians are constantly asking us and inviting us to do, equating the movements in eastern Ukraine, the pro-Russian movements in eastern Ukraine, and what happened in Kiev. You look at what happened in Kiev, it was guys with bats and shin guards. They didn't have this kind of weaponry. They didn't have this kind of efficiency, or this kind of coordination, these uniforms. What we're seeing in East Ukraine is definitely not spontaneous grassroots movements where people just went to the store and got these uniforms.
You, Josh, obtained a recording of the Secretary of State John Kerry speaking about what's going on in eastern Ukraine at a closed-door meeting. You got a recording. I'm going to play the audio from the recording, and the words are up on the screen, and then I want to discuss what you heard at this meeting the other day.
Intel was producing, taped conversations of intelligence operatives taking their orders from Russian Moscow, and everybody can tell the difference in the accents and in the idioms and in the language and so forth. We know exactly who's giving those orders. We know where they're coming from. I mean, this is insulting to everybody's intelligence, let alone to our notions of how we ought to be behaving in this century. It's thuggism. It's rogue statism. It's the worst order of behavior.
Now, last week in a public statement, in a public speech he gave, he referred to Ukrainian intelligence making this allegation. In this particular recording, he says Intel. Is he referring to the same thing he spoke about publicly the other day, or are there new information based on what you're hearing?
Right. State Department spokeswoman Jen Psaki said today that Kerry was referring to Ukrainian intelligence. He wasn't specific in his remarks to the Trilateral Commission. It seemed that he was talking about U.S. intel. We don't know. He said previously that U.S. intelligence agencies have produced similar intelligence. So what we know is that, according to John Kerry, there's streams of information coming in from both U.S. intelligence collection efforts and Ukrainian intelligence collection efforts that prove Russian and Moscow involvement in what's going on in eastern Ukraine, and put the lie to the claims by Vladimir Putin and Sergei Lavrov that they're not involved.
Ambassador Barry, you're in Vienna. You're the representative of the United States to the OSCE, the Organization for Security and Cooperation in Europe. Based on everything you know, and you get a lot of important information, do you have any doubt that the Russian government of President Vladimir Putin, for all practical purposes, is pulling the strings in eastern Ukraine right now as far as those pro-Russian sympathizers are concerned?
I have no doubt whatsoever that the Russian government is undertaking a concerted effort to foment instability in eastern Ukraine in order to advance its larger agenda. There's no question. Are there some locals who are whipped up in this? Absolutely. But as I said before, this would not be happening without the Kremlin's involvement.
And go ahead, Julia, because I know you have strong views on this.
I was just going to say that even if we prove definitively beyond a reasonable doubt that the Russians are the ones commanding this, what does it change? The Russians can still say, no, we aren't, and can still keep doing what they're doing. It doesn't really change anything.
Does it change anything, Josh?
I would say it makes the diplomacy with Russia less of a focus, because if we're trying to negotiate with Russia for a de-escalation and Russian credibility is not there and Russian promises can't be met, then we can't really strike an agreement with Russia to de-escalate the crisis, can we?
All right, and very quickly, Ambassador, before I let you go, those monitors, are they going to be released in the next few days, you think?
You know, it's too soon to tell, Wolf, but I certainly hope so. And, you know, as the other commentators have said, and it's a pleasure to be on with Julia and Josh, you know, the challenge now is that nobody can trust Russia at its word. We worked very hard to hammer out an agreement on initial steps for de-escalation 2 weeks ago, and Russia has not only had sins of omission in not doing anything to advance that, they've had sins of commission in further fomenting instability. And we see human rights abuses, torture, attack of peaceful demonstrators. Everything is happening. The Kremlin is exporting Russian thugism to eastern Ukraine.